All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. Christine McVie is talking about Fleetwood Mac, and it's kind of interesting. She's got a compilation record about to be released, so she's probably doing some press. I believe it's called Songbird, and it will be a bunch of her best music put together. Christine McVie said it's impossible to predict whether Fleetwood Mac will continue beyond their most recent tour, referring to Mike Campbell and Neil Finn. She says, those guys were great. We had a great time with them, but we've kind of broke up now. So I hardly ever see them. That's interesting language. She's either referring to the band or the fact that they've broken up with those two guys. I don't think those two guys will be back in Fleetwood Mac. She added that she also doesn't communicate very much with longtime bandmate Stevie Nicks, noting when we were on the last tour, we did a lot. We always sat next to each other on the plane and we got on really well. But again, she says, since the band broke up, I've not been speaking to her at all. Interesting. So she doesn't talk to Stevie Nicks. And she almost makes it sound like, look, I did a lot with her. We hung out during the tour. That's enough. I don't need to do it anymore. Going further, McVie is uncertain whether the band still exists. I don't know. It's impossible to say. We might get back together, but I just couldn't say for sure. Now, what's interesting is that she does want Lindsey Buckingham back in the band. You know, if we're going to reunite, she would like Lindsey to be there. She's also saying that she's quite happy being at home and pointing to a debilitating chronic back problem that would make it difficult for her to play keyboards in her preferred standing position. Now, keep in mind that Christine McVie will be 79 years old on July the 12th. So again, I know there are people out there that say, so what? I mean, look, rock and roll and the touring schedule is not for everyone, right? And then you add in this factor of age, and 79 is pretty old. I think 79 is the life expectancy, and I'm not sure of her health other than the chronic back issue, but again, it sounds like she'd rather be at home. She had to, again, she'd have to stand up to play the piano and have the Hammond organ beneath. So it's pretty hard to do. But this is what she says. I'd always want Lindsey back, she said of her former bandmate with whom she collaborated on a 2017 duet LP, which should have been a Fleetwood Mac album. But Stevie Nicks had no music to contribute, and thus it was scrapped as a Fleetwood Mac album. She goes on to say about Lindsey, he's the best. Neil and Mike were such a cheerful couple, but Lindsey was missed. Good for her. Finn said back in 2021 that he would gladly step aside to accommodate Buckingham's return. Meanwhile, Buckingham has expressed interest in eventually coming back. Who knows? Maybe we'll manage to see clear to have one more nice run out there. Now, that was Lindsey Buckingham saying that and not Christine McVie. It's just, she's very uncertain. I really can't say for sure because I could be wrong. So I'll just leave it open and say that we might. Now, it sounds like she's basically trying to be diplomatic here, and I can completely understand that. But she, a couple of years ago, said something like, oh, we're all getting kind of old for this. John McVie wants to spend time on his boat. Stevie Nicks, I'm thinking, doesn't want to go out there and tour all the time. But Stevie Nicks does have solo dates booked at festivals this year, despite all of the logistical problems because of the thing, which still is a factor in, making concerts harder to actually do. So we shall see. If I were a betting man, though, I'm thinking that Christine McVie doesn't want to do this anymore, and I don't blame her. But it wouldn't be the same without her, that's for sure. Now, she left the band for many years and then came back, and I think any reunion, if it were one last time, you really need everybody there. And maybe if it was a short run of dates, and maybe they could accommodate Christine with a different keyboard setup, I'm sure, they could bring in a couple of other players to help her with the keyboard sound of Fleetwood Mac. And typically that's what bands are doing anyway. They have all these players that are on sort of the outskirts, behind where the stage setup is, and sometimes even behind the curtain, so you don't even know they're there. So it's kind of cool, though, that she basically wants Lindsey Buckingham back in Fleetwood Mac, and so does the rest of the world of music. They want Lindsey back. The only person I think who doesn't want Lindsey Buckingham back in Fleetwood Mac is probably Stevie Nicks at this point. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Patreon during the summer months, I'm always looking for patrons to pick up the slack. I know the economy is really bad out there. Gas is like $5 a gallon, and people are really hurting. And I don't know if the baby formula crisis is still going on, but obviously, if you're choosing between watching me and feeding your baby, I would choose feeding your baby, right? But if you can subscribe, that would be helpful. And, we'll keep the content coming. As always, again, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.